Welcome back to the Lemon and Healing Podcast.
Where laughter meets inner peace.
We're your host, Shaka,
And I'm Kiana.
and we're so happy for you to join us on this new episode of our podcast. Thank you to everyone who supported us all through this time. We wrapped season one last year. We're in the middle of season. Well, we're starting season two. We just dropped a episode of our trip to Guyana. So definitely look at that episode. It's really, really good. And we appreciate everyone who's been supporting us on this journey. We really want to thank everyone that liked, subscribed, commented, send us questions, any support in any way. We really appreciate you guys. So definitely, continue to support us and continue to tune in because we have a really, really good topic today. What do we
Yes.
have today, Kiana?
Yes, it's the month of February, month of love, as many of us would call it. And I believe this episode is dropping on Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Oh, look at that. So we are going to talk about love, but not just any kind of love. We're talking about self-love, which one would argue might be the most important love in your life because as we said in our podcast episode last year called Self-Care is Not Selfish, that loving yourself is so important because the relationship you have with yourself is actually one of the most important and long lasting relationship you ever have in your entire life. So it's important to do so. So we're going to talk about whether it don't matter whether you're single or in a relationship, because at the end of the day, you still have to love yourself, right? You don't have to wait on someone else to love you because you should be loving yourself first. So, and single people, even though you're not in a relationship like me, it's okay. It's okay. We can still love ourselves, because once again, loving yourself prepares you for the love you want to receive. Because if you're not pouring into yourself and discovering who you are, how are you going to know or tell someone how you want to be loved if you don't know?
Right.
So you have to know. And if you're in a relationship and you don't know either, this is an episode for you as well. And if you do know, tell us, like, in the comments, like, what are some things you do to engage in self-love? Okay. So at the end of the day, my therapist always say you can't pour from an empty cup. Matter of fact, she said,
Yes,
you are the
that's so
cup.
good.
You are the cup. So you must
A
pour
whole
into
cup.
you.
Exactly.
You must pour into yourself, right? And then from the overflow and the abundance, that's what you give to others. So, Shako, tell me, what is self love? And more importantly, how do you take care of yourself?
Well, for me, what you mentioned, that really echoed for me because I think that a lot of times, especially around Valentine's Day, a lot of people think, oh, they focus on what's missing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, even if you're in a relationship, sometimes yes, you might be happy about it, but sometimes, it might not always be going the way you want it to go. So Valentine's Day might not be a happy time, even if you're in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that shouldn't, take away from the day or take away from yourself. So that's basically what we want to talk about it. So, with self-love, it's basically like honoring and respecting and nurturing yourself. It's a commitment, a daily commitment to yourself, right?
I
Yes, we're
love
doing
that.
this topic on Valentine's Day, but it's a daily commitment to yourself. And I feel like a lot of times we neglect ourselves, right? And we want to ensure that, that we put ourselves first. And I know people be like, oh, that's kind of selfish or whatever, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not, right? Right? It's not because just like our last episode, self-care is not selfish. And please go back and watch that episode,
Yes, we'll
okay?
link it. We'll
Exactly.
link
Please go
it
back.
below so you can watch it because it was really good.
Yeah, it was really, really good. It was really good. But yeah, loving yourself isn't a one-time decision. It's an ongoing
Hmm.
journey. So that's why it was like, let's bring it back again. Let's bring it back in the month of love, on the day of love. Let's bring it back.
Mm-hmm.
How are you loving yourself? So let's try to like, dispel any misconceptions you might have about self-love. What is self-love, right? Self-love
Mm-hmm.
or self-care, basically, it's not selfish, right? That's the one thing we echo. It's not selfish. I know society, sometimes want us to think that, oh, especially as women, you
Mm,
know,
mm,
who wanted you taking care of your family, taking care of your kids, or
mm-hmm,
people might say, "Oh, you got to do that, and that's how you want to give love. That's how you receive love." That's not true, right? Because as Kiana mentioned, you can't give from an empty cup. You are the cup, right? And I know a lot of people be like, "Well, no, I'm looking out. I doing this because I love them, and this is how I
mm-hmm,
take care
mm-hmm.
of everybody, whatever." But you can't take care of others when you're not taking care of yourself, right? And
Mm.
that's just science.
Wait,
It's
wait,
just like
wait, wait,
science.
wait, wait a minute. Repeat that line. You cannot take care of others if you're
If
not taking care of yourself. Oh, that's so good. Just had to repeat it.
exactly good. And I always tell people, I got a lot of family members who always doing the most, and I don't, I be doing the most myself. I ain't gonna lie, right? And nothing is wrong with doing the most, but I always say, okay, you want to do the most, you want to do everything. Next thing you
Mm-hmm.
know, you're not paying attention to yourself. Something happened to you. Who gonna look after these people?
Mm-hmm.
You gone and leave them. Because we're going to
Mm.
talk more about what neglecting yourself does in the long
Mm.
run, right? We're going to talk more about that. But if you're not there, think about it. So you have to take care of yourself first in order to give, right?
Mm-hmm.
So don't ever let society say, well, you're being selfish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because eventually you're going to burn out, right?
Yeah.
It's just like if your phone, yeah, your phone is a perfect analogy. Your phone on 1%, you got to charge it, right?
Mm.
You can't keep running all of these different things they're doing out. You have to ensure
So
that
good.
it's charged up, and you gotta be charged up. Okay,
So
you gotta be
good.
charged up.
I love that. So good. You got to be charged up. Plug yourself in. Get
Yep.
some rest. And we're going to talk about that later
Yeah.
on. But you meant so many gems. You said so many things that I can relate to. And I wonder which family member you were referring to.
Many, I have many of it. And I once
As
again, I'm guilty myself. And you be talking to me about that too. You be telling me about me.
just just making sure. But what you said was it's so true. It's so true because we are always pouring from an empty cup, and
Yeah.
then we think that we have to we want to be there. It's not that we don't want to be
Yeah.
there for our loved ones.
Exactly.
We absolutely want to be there, but at the same time, how can we prioritize our own rest, well-being, if we're always pouring from an empty glass, an empty cup? So what you're saying, amazing. And I hope that resonates with someone out there, because
Yeah. Mhm.
self-care means taking care of yourself too. You have to. We absolutely have to, especially
Yeah.
in this current climate that we live in. um
Hmm.
and another way you can practice self-care is by stop comparing yourself to others. you know
Yeah.
we're all
That's
on
so
our
good.
different journeys of life, and we talk about the relationship you have with yourself will be the longest relationship you'll ever
Yeah,
have.
that's so good.
And remember that, because your journey and someone else's journey are two different things. You cannot compare where you are in life with someone else, because
Yeah, that's
you're
so
not
good.
them, they're not you. And that's just the way it is. Like, you're you, I am I, you're you, whatever. Like, at the end of the day, I almost made a little Dr. Seuss who I am, whatever kind of rhyme. But instead of focusing on what others have, focus on you. You know what they say, the grass is not greener on the other side, it's where you water
True.
it. You gotta water
Yeah.
yourself. You're a bloom, you're a flower. Like, look at this flower, look how beautiful it is. You are a flower. Like, water yourself, water your own
Yeah.
garden. And
Yeah,
speak
that's so good.
kindly to yourself. You're talking about kindness, like self-love is kindness. You wouldn't tell your loved ones crazy stuff, but you talk crazy to yourself.
Yeah,
We need
that's
to
so true.
stop that. And that's something I know I've been guilty of. And I'm like, woo. Sometimes I've had like internal monologues, and I'm like, woo, girl, why are you? That was not necessary. And have patience with yourself. So many of us have zero patience with ourselves. And in turn, we don't have
Mm, that's
patience,
good.
period. We don't have patience because
Yeah.
we're so rushed with our own lives. We don't take the time to cultivate a relationship and nurture ourselves. So in turn, we're so impatient, even with our own self. Why are we not
Yeah.
doing the things we need to do? Why are we not married yet? Why we don't have the kids yet, the career
Yeah.
yet, the job, the house, yada yada yada.
That's
Things
so true. That's
happen.
it.
Things happen
Yeah.
in the right time and the right season. One of my favorite quotes is, trust the timing of your life. You
No, that's good.
have to. You have to trust the timing of your life because, like I said earlier, you're on your own journey.
Yeah.
I'm on my own journey. And those two journeys we might walk alongside each other, but at the end of the day, it's two separate journeys, you know? We
Yeah.
might have similar goals that we help each other accomplish,
Yeah.
but we still have our own journeys to fulfill, and that's
Yeah.
something you have to be cognizant of, and some of the ways you can do that is removing the negativity and the toxicity from your
Yeah.
lives. The people, places, things, you know them, you know yourself more than anyone else do. So be honest with yourself about the things that don't love you back, essentially. What
Yeah,
are the
that's so
things that
good.
don't love you back? You know.
M- It's true. It's true. Because yeah, you feel it inside too.
You
You feel it
do.
inside. Yeah.
You
And when you
do.
think about, like when you think about,
Hmm.
and you have that uncomfortable feeling, listen to your body.
Listen, every time
Listen to your
that
body.
boy, that man, or that woman call you, and all you feel inside of you is anxiety, maybe
Anxiety.
that's not
Or the
butterflies. That's not,
Yeah, or then text you back and they're checking your phone every minute because
and you're
they don't
stressing.
care,
Yeah,
right?
they
Or
don't.
when yeah, because you don't get a text back from them and you're feeling that sinking in your chest, like, they're busy.
Hmm.
As you always say, right? If Barack Obama had time for Michelle Obama, he was the president of
Period.
the United States, that
Period.
man got time to text you back.
Exactly.
Okay?
If he
Even
wanted
that friend
to,
got time to text you back because I got some friends who won't text
exactly.
you back neither.
That is true. If they wanted to, they would. Nobody is that busy 24/7. No, no. People make time for what they want and what they love. And,
It's
you
that
got to walk
simple.
away from toxic
Period.
environments. You got to protect yourself. And
Period.
self love is protecting yourself, having good
So
boundaries.
good.
We have an episode on that as well. And we have an episode on a lot of things.
And
So,
everything, everything.
so definitely.
One stop shop. This podcast is a one stop shop.
Yes, we're gonna lime and we're gonna heal and we're gonna talk about the
Mhm.
things that matters because we all need some form of healing. Okay, so we have to do all of those things. And a big one for me, you know, is physical health. Self
Yeah.
care is exercising. That is self love. Like
Yeah, it's true. That's so good.
eating
That's
the
a really
right
good one.
things,
I love it.
and that's
I
something I
love
have
it.
to remember. If my body's telling me, girl, we don't
I
love
want to
this
eat it right.
carb.
I want to eat the things I want to eat though. There's love for
Me
me.
too.
I know that's the thing
Me
that's good for
too.
you. All those.
But at the same time, eating things that my body doesn't like anymore, because your girl's getting up there in age. I can't abuse it by continuously feeding it the things that doesn't love me back, and unfortunately, carbs, rice,
I
like
love it.
Caribbean people, we love our rice, we love our carbs.
We
But
have
at
an
the end of
episode on that too.
yes, check that out. We're just gonna link the entire first season one so you can go back and you can
Yep.
learn. And the good thing about this podcast is that we are available, like, it's on the YouTube. So as long as YouTube is here, we are here. So, and you can always check it out. But yeah, definitely go to doctor's appointment as well if know where your
Yeah, that's
health
a
is
big
at.
one. That's really good. Yeah, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, like, especially in the Caribbean society, a lot of times we only go to the doctor when
Too late.
we when we need to, right? And so that's a very good point. That's a very good point.
Yeah, but you
And
have to yearly checkups and stuff like that. Like, don't play about your health. Your health is your wealth. Like, literally, your body, that's the house that you live in. So you gotta take care
that's
of
so
it.
good.
And one more thing I wanted to mention, which some people may not, do, but self-love and self-care is also celebrating your birthday, guys. Like,
Yes. Yeah, it's so good. I love
celebrate
that.
yourself. Yes,
Celebrate yourself.
because at the end of the day, what is a more special day than the day that you were born? Come on.
Yeah.
And I don't mean you have to be like one of those people who have like extravagant birthday dinners with 40
But you should
people.
though. I'm that one of those
You
people.
could, but if you can afford it, my
You
point
can't afford
is
it.
do something for you. Honor yourself, recognize that day, pour into yourself. Like for me, recently I started enjoying like solo birthdays. Not to say I don't want to celebrate with my loved ones, but last year, when I was living in a different city, I was pretty much by myself. So I made that day a day to do all the things that I wanted to do. And it was
Yeah.
amazing, you know. So even though if you're living somewhere and you don't have your loved ones close, your family or friends are not close, or whatever reason, you know, still celebrate yourself. Buy yourself a cup of cake. Put on something nice. Like do
Yeah.
something to celebrate
Yeah.
yourself because
Yeah.
you have to, again, self-love is modeling to yourself how you want others to love you. And if you don't have a
Facts.
baseline for that,
That's facts.
people are gonna
Yeah.
treat you any all kind of way, baby. And you don't want that, you know. You don't want
Ex-
that.
no, exactly. And I love what you say. And Kiana had her solo birthday, and you should definitely check it out because she posts about it
Oh yeah, I
too
did.
on Instagram. So once again, you can check that out too. But my birthday
Mm-hmm.
too, I did post a video on that as well because we birthday people, And if
Mm-hmm.
you know us, even if you in proximity to us, if it's your birthday, we're gonna celebrate you because we believe in
Yes,
celebrating people. It's your day. I'm a
exactly.
big birthday person, and once again, as Candy mentioned, it doesn't have to be big. But I don't like when people be like, it's just a regular day. No, it's not. It is not a regular day. I'm like, it's my day. It's my holiday.
Yeah.
I never working on my birthday. Okay. I am
Yeah.
never working on my birthday. I do that
Period.
every 364. Why
I
the one
already
day?
took my time off, put in my PTO, prepare the others for April 9th, baby, because your girl is not going to be there.
Fair enough. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a big extravagant thing. It could be something simple. You buy yourself a
Yeah,
cake, spend a little time with yourself, take a
exactly.
minute to yourself. Like just being off on that day
Reflect.
is
Yeah.
good. You understand? Or you don't even have to do the whole day. It could be half day. You could buy yourself a lunch. Like do something, don't be like every
Mm-hmm.
other day because there are every other day. You
Yeah.
understand? And as Kiana mentioned, it's a baseline of how others to treat you. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's some relationship whereby two persons, one person birthday, we're doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then you birthday, you're in a peep. Because
Yeah.
that person appreciates themselves. And because you see that, you join that
Yeah.
kind of you join on the bandwagon. But if you're not doing that for yourself, somebody can't join your bandwagon.
Ooh,
A lot of people follow
speak.
your lead. And
Speak it.
if your lead is low vibration, bro.
But you
Right?
know, you mentioned that, and what just came to mind was some people, right? They won't do much for their birthday. Let's say they're in a relationship, two persons are in a relationship
Mhm.
together. And let's say one of the persons are like, oh, my birthday, I turn up, I want to do everything, plans, plans,
Yeah.
plans. And then the other person, like you said, go along with the flow because, it's just
Hmm.
easier to go along with the flow. They're not making the plans, but they're
Yeah.
like, okay, we're doing this together. But then when it's their birthday and they're not doing anything, they're gonna be mad because now they're like, why you are not planning all of that for me? And my point is,
Yeah.
yes, that person can be generous and kind to do so, but
Yes, it's true.
you have to be the initiator for yourself as well. It's your
Exactly.
birthday.
Exactly. You still gotta follow their lead. So they're still following your lead. And
Mm-hmm.
you gotta tell people how you want to be loved. And once again, nothing is better than showing. You understand?
Yes.
Showing that love. As Kiana mentioned too, and I think this was great. The longest relationship you're gonna have is with yourself. Some people move from relationship to relationship because they're unhappy. But
Mm-hmm.
it's really because they're unhappy with themselves. So that's the point of what we want to talk about is that you can't focus on, oh, I need this or I want this or I want a husband, I want a wife, I want kids. And you
Mm-hmm.
ain't like your own self, you ain't care for your own self, you ain't looking after your own self. oh, God, God bless you, other things. It's not, I'm about to preach, but
Ooh, ooh, ooh,
you gotta look
ooh.
at that and focus on this before you get that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just it. Okay.
That's so
So
good. That's so good.
yeah. So what could happen, and that's another thing why we want to focus so much on that, because what could happen if you don't, focus on self-love, self-care, right? What was the
Mm-hmm.
cost of ignoring that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
one, low self-worth,
Mm.
right? I've
Mm.
seen so many people with low
Hmm.
self-worth because why? They
Heartbreaking.
don't they don't right? They don't focus on themselves. They
Mm-hmm.
don't care about them. They don't really care about themselves or whatever. And then other people treat them the same way. You
Mm.
understand? Because that's how you say. So now you don't believe that you deserve more.
Mm.
But you on
Sad.
this earth, you on
Mm.
this earth, why you don't think you deserve more than the other person? People be like, well, that's for her. Why is it not for you?
Mm.
Right? That's clear. That's a clear example of like low self-worth,
Yeah.
right?
And I just want to add something. I recently I was on the internet and I saw a quote like, if you don't put a price on yourself, life will put a price on it for you and it's going to
Ooh,
be
that is
low.
so
The
good.
price would be low. So,
That's so good. That is so good. I love that. I love that so much. That's really good.
mhm.
um yeah, so that's something, and and you take that with yourself, right? You keep that with yourself. That's an internal conversation that you're having with yourself that you take throughout the day. You don't want that, right?
Mhm.
Also, mental burnout, that's a huge one, right?
Mm.
Like mental burnout because you keep doing things for others. And what's a lot of times doing things for others not bad. I like doing things for others. I feel good about it,
Mhm.
right? And so I'm not saying don't do stuff for others. Don't ever, that's not never what we mean. But sometimes you do so much things for others. And
Mhm.
then at some point you start to feel a resentment.
Mm.
Right? Why is that? Why is that? It's because you're doing
Mhm. Too
too
much.
much. You're doing too much. And you know what? It's when you're empty, you start to feel that resentment. You have
Mhm.
to give yourself
Mhm.
up. If you have 100 and you give five, you still feel okay because you still have
Mhm.
9 to 5. But if you give 9 to 5 and you only have five, trust me, you'll be like, what more you want me to give? This is
Mhm.
all I have. So you start to feel that resentment, right?
Yeah.
So mental burnout, right? Emotional and physical breakdown, as Kiana mentioned, like go to the doctor, go
Yeah.
and check on yourself. You understand? See how your body doing. Sometimes you're getting a little pain in your chest. Heart disease is one of the number one killers of women. I know we're not focused
Mhm.
just on women, right? But there's something that you and a lot of times it's because you're not even recognizing the sign. Be like, this thing feeling funny, but you don't even go
Mhm.
in and see what's going on with yourself. Why you putting things
Facts.
like back burner? You don't even. Well, I could do the later because you can do the later because somebody got to do something. No, look after
Mhm.
yourself. This is your health. Your health. Also,
Mhm.
like toxic relationships, as we mentioned before. Like if you don't look after yourself, you definitely get into something that you don't think, you know, because you don't think that you deserve something good.
Mhm.
Because you think that's all you're worth.
Yeah.
Right? So that could involve that could be relationships,
Mhm.
friendships, you know. And to me, the biggest one too, and I think this is the biggest one of all, is loss of identity. Like you don't know yourself because a lot
Mm.
of times you're not loving
That's so
yourself
good.
because you don't know who you are. You don't even recognizing who that person is because you're going along
Mhm.
with everything else. You're doing things for everybody else. Then you realize what
That
I
is
like,
so good. That is so good.
what I
Because
want. You ever think about that? Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then people will turn around and would be like, "Oh, that's what happens when you expect you in others." Like that's people's go-to saying when they've completely emptied their tank by doing more than they were capable because they did not
Mm-hmm.
have the right boundaries in place, and then
Yeah.
they're upset because they're like, oh, I do all of this for you, I empty my bank account for you, I had sleepless night for you. And I'm not talking about parents and children. Parents, that's your duty to provide and be there for your kids. This is not about that. You make them, you gotta take care of them. All right.
Okay.
I'm speaking about, relationship with like other adults, capable adults for the most part. At the end of the day, people get upset by that
That's
that
so
someone
true.
is not reciprocating. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't it's a two-way street. So a relationship should
Yes.
be give and take, right? But you cannot, when you over,
Exert.
overdo the do, as we would say, you go
Mm-hmm. That's okay.
above and beyond for someone
Beyond.
else,
Mhm.
and then they're not doing the same for you, and you're upset because that person might exercise boundaries in an area of
Yeah.
their life where they're like, this is more than I'm willing to give or capable to give,
Capable.
and you're upset because now you're like, but I give even when it's beyond what I can give. But you have to sit down with yourself and realize that
But should you?
that's a you problem. It's a you
Yeah.
problem, and you have
Yeah.
to own that, because you made that decision to do that. This did
Yeah.
not happen to
That's
you.
so good. That's so good. That's so good. Like, and what you talking? Once again, I feel like I'm speaking to me. Speaking to me. I know you've told me many times. And my therapist, shout out to my therapist. She be telling me those things. She'd be like, Shaka, you don't need to. And you know what? I say all these things too. And that people don't think that we ever come in and say something because we look at it and
Hmm.
be like, this way they should know.
No.
These are things that we get from ourselves. These are
Yes.
things that we have struggled with and we are
Still
learning and
struggling.
doing
Hmm.
exactly and trying to do better. But it's a journey. It's a journey for everyone. As you mentioned, self-care is a daily thing. It's a daily journey.
Hmm.
Right. But for me, I would say it goes back to self-worth because I would be like, you know what? I want to give because I want to show love, but that's how it's
Hmm.
not only showing love, it's the receiving love. I feel like if I
Hmm.
don't do, I might not get love, right? But so
Mm.
because of that, and that's why my therapist brought to my attention, I was like,
Hmm. So you
I can
find
give
worth in
and
doing.
give it
Hmm.
good. And I'm like, that's something that I had to work on. Like, like you're not measured by the
Hmm.
things that you could do or give or be for other people, because
Hmm.
sometimes it's how we feel we should get love. And I had to
Hmm.
learn that lesson myself, right? And
That's
it's
so
something that
good.
I'm still learning because, my own issues, trauma, and all these different things.
Exactly.
Right? But you know what? It's something that we have to learn that, that's not what it's measured by. It's not what
Yeah.
it's measured by. It's not by taking all the clothes off your back. Somebody
Mm.
that loves you ain't gonna want all your clothes.
Mm.
They're gonna leave you with something. You
Mm.
you be you
Mm.
be dressing people that fully well dressed already. Stop,
Wow.
right?
Oh,
So
that's so good. That's so
yeah.
good.
So we really need to look at what we trying to say with these things. Once again, nothing is wrong, but we really need to set boundaries. As we can mention, we have the episode of
Mm-hmm.
that, right? On what we are doing because we
Mm-hmm.
really need to be focused on what we can do for ourselves. Because let me tell you, sometimes we be giving to people, giving to people, giving to people, and because you be like, you know what, they don't know how to do it well, or they don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't giving them opportunity to grow and
Mm.
learn and
Robbing
do
them. Yeah.
and be all of that too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
And then
once again, I'm
another
like
thing
that too.
too, I've had to remind myself is that, a lot of times, like, you want to do something for somebody. Oh, I gotta do it big, blah, 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 big baller, shot
Yeah,
caller. And it's like, okay, being a big baller shot caller, is that putting you above and beyond your own personal finances? Are you extending yourself way beyond what you can afford? And that's also self-care and self-love, is that yes, you can give, but you can give from, once again, an empty place, right? Don't go put yourself into debt to please
yeah. Don't
people.
be clowning your way through life. It's trying to clown.
Don't be Klarna in after pay all of the quarter pay in four payments. Facts though, because you do these things and then you give and give, and some people, they're grateful, and there's some people you can give and it will never be
Never
enough.
be
It
so
will never
good.
be enough. And then you leave yourself undone, and then you're like, but you were supposed to love me. You were supposed to appreciate my gift and be grateful. And then the person's like, I didn't ask you to buy that. Or sometimes they did
Good.
and they don't care. So,
Yeah, and then you give it something and it's like, oh, left it there. Oh, I went above and beyond to get you this thing. And then you be
yeah.
like, rest it there. Rest
Yep.
it there. You gonna look at this thing that I
Yep.
bought for
No facts. And that's happened to me in the past. And I remember talking through it in therapy. And it made me
you.
realize that once again, we have to own up to our choices because we're doing
Yeah,
the things. And my therapist was like,
so true. That's
okay,
so good.
what you did, sometimes what you do is a good thing, but the intentions behind it is what you
Yeah,
need to question. Why am I doing
yeah.
this? Because I want love, I want affection, I
One
want
love.
affirmation. I want you to tell me, oh, you're doing a good job, whatever. And if it's coming from that place and not solely, I just want to give this to you, regardless of the outcome,
Yeah,
then maybe you shouldn't. Because if
you
there's
shouldn't be giving it.
strings attached to the gift, you need to question what those strings are.
Perfect. So
And
good.
that is self-love. Stop doing things because for whatever reasons. Now you know your reasons, because
Yeah,
you know yourself.
exactly.
So,
Exactly. Yeah. So now I try to give because I love to give and I'm capable to give, and that's what I feel like. Not because, oh, I want this affection, whatever. No, I'm giving
yeah,
genuinely or whatever I'm doing genuinely because of my care and what I want, and that's it. That's what I
that's
try to
it.
do now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's so good because that's where we need to be. But you mentioned
Yeah.
earlier about toxic relationship and loss of identity and low self-worth and all the mental fatigue and all that stuff. And obviously we're two women talking, but men, this also applies to
Mm,
you.
yeah.
This applies to
That's a good point.
you. And a lot of times for men, it may not comes out or like
The same way.
display as
Hmm.
as women where we were like anxious about love or like you know depressed about love, but for some men it might be anger and irritability because they're like
Yeah,
you
that's so
know
good.
some men like speaking about love and relationships and the current culture, especially the dating world we're in, which is extremely ghetto, but there are good men out there. I hold on to that belief because if I exist, he also exists. So,
Claim
and
it.
amen, amen to that.
Claim it.
But there's so many men and women where I've noticed men who are angry
Yeah.
because let's say, for whatever reason, they feel they're not getting the attention they deserve because they're quote unquote a good guy, they're friendly, they're nice, whatever, and all these things. And when they face like rejection, even the nicest rejection, the softest rejection, a lot of times they react with anger and irritability. And
Yeah.
that goes to show, why are you operating that way? So, men, if you're, for whatever reason, because a lot of times society doesn't teach men how to love themselves, right? So, a lot of
That's so
times
good.
men,
That is so good.
yeah, they don't. A lot of times men
Hmm.
look for love from external um places, from their mothers. A lot of times their mother is like, oh, son, you're the best son. I love you, son. Check out boy mom.
Like an
Because that's
episode.
also an episode. But
Sure did.
so a lot of times men would look to their woman. If they have a woman in their life, they look to her to, get them the praise, the affirmation,
Yeah.
speak life, lift him up. And not saying any of those things are wrong, but there has to be a baseline of self-love for men because
Yeah.
I've noticed, like, even in my own family, like some of the men in my family, not to put y'all business on blast, but nobody know y'all. But anyways, a lot of them, whenever they communicate, it's always about women. Like, they're everything is surrounding women. Like, oh, woman this,
That's
woman
so
that,
good.
love woman, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, fine. But your life
That's so
cannot
good.
be
That
around
speak
just
it.
women and
Speak it.
relationships. And
Yeah. You're right with the
yeah,
yeah,
there's
I feel
more
like
to life.
I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's a Caribbean thing too. Like to me, well, I gotta talk about where I grew up, but to me, it's
Mm-hmm.
because when I'm in outer spaces, I don't see that all the time. Like some
Mm-hmm.
Indian space, you see like men just talk about video games or something like
That is
that.
true. They have a hobby. A lot of Caribbean
Yeah,
men do not have a hobby. Like their hobby is woman. Woman cannot be your hobby. Like that is a part of life that you engage in relationship. You need to have a life outside of women and what they can provide and give to you.
put it on a
Who are
t-shirt.
you? Who are you outside of women? Like, find a hobby,
Oh,
find something you enjoy doing. And a lot of them really don't have that, because once again, they have not
so good,
cultivated
bro.
and taken the time to understand themselves and to love themselves by themselves.
That is so good, yo. That's I swear we put it on a t-shirt because it's true. Wow.
It is so true. And
It's
it's you can apply it to most Caribbean men. I don't want to say all, but most of them
yes.
don't. Like,
Yeah.
the culture
Yeah,
that we
because
live in.
if that wasn't the case, they wouldn't get like five baby mamas. Like because clearly
Exactly.
when they're bored,
Free
they go
time
with another woman. It's
and
it's
another
it's like
woman
a
and another
yeah.
woman.
Yeah, you saw right with
Yes,
and this is
do
a
something
conversation
else with your
about
free time. Do something else.
just yeah, learn about yourself, self-care,
Yeah,
self-love about yourself, how to be. And a lot of times, indeed, men do not know how to love themselves. You understand me? Because they're looking
exactly.
love externally. Oh my God, that was so good. I
Exactly.
love
They
that.
do. They do. And then when they have to pour themselves into someone else, what end up happening? They become burnout because they always
Yeah,
got to keep pushing through and not taking the time to literally sit with themselves,
yeah.
nurture themselves, rest, prioritize self-care. So you're always having to do for someone else because guess what? This woman wants something from you too. So
Facts. Exactly. And then they'd
you're
be like,
giving,
ouch,
you're
I was
giving, you're
gone.
giving. Yeah, and you empty, you're working long hours. You gotta give her whatever. If you have kids, that's another avenue. Where is the time for you?
Where's
You
the
know?
time for you? That's so good. Nice. Preach. That's so good. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
That's so
So
good.
yeah. And that's something, men, even though we're two women, and I hope you take what we're saying with grace. We're not coming for
Yeah, we
y'all.
bashing y'all. No, we're not.
We're
We're not.
not.
But yeah, really
We
look at
hope
it for your
y'all
on your
really
yeah.
listen. We got a lot of brothers. So brothers, if y'all watching this,
Yeah. We got so much
y'all
brothers,
listen.
y'all.
Y'all listen and learn. So yeah, we talk so much about, what self-care and self-love is. And, part of that is taking care of yourself, having a self-care routine, right? So Shaka, tell me, what is your self-care routine?
My self-care routine. That's a good question because I love me some me, right? I do. I do
Period.
love me some me. But for me, I, I don't think I have anything like super specific that is like, oh, I or something that way out there or different. I just listen to myself and focus on the things my needs. Yeah.
I love that.
Right.
Listening to
Because
yourself. That's so good.
yeah, exactly. Because I know like so for me that means bringing things in that are good for me, taking things out. Like something that's literal, I would say is like I love like late mornings. Like
Mm.
people be calling me. My phone is silent, y'all. If it's an emergency, call 911. Don't call me because my
Period.
phone is on silent. Whenever the problem,
24/7.
okay, when I wake up, then I can know that the world burned down, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm asleep, and mama have a late morning. Sometimes people be calling me, and I wake up, I have my devotion, whatever, and my phone is silent, everything. Afterwards, people be like, "You still asleep?" Yes, I was
Mm-hmm.
sleeping. This hour, sure, yes. Okay, because why I can't have a late mornings, not a rush, because rushing give me anxiety. So
Mm-hmm.
late mornings and having my time to myself, unwinding in the mornings. I ain't waking up to rush, 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 rush. You understand? I don't
Mm-hmm.
like do this. Yes, I work, but I work later in the day, which is something I did purposeful too, because I love starting my day with me. If I gotta wake up and rush to get my hair done, rush to do this, rush to get ready, rush to leave the house, I feel anxiety all day. And that does nothing for me, right? So
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. I love a late
Mm-hmm.
morning. That's something literal that I try to do for myself. And I'm not saying, oh, you gotta wake up, you gotta reach to work at 6, right? So maybe that's
Mm-hmm.
not for you. But look at the time. Maybe you could just do it because I worked early before too. So I just
Mm-hmm.
used to try to do that on weekends. On weekends, I'm a I'm gonna have a late day. Y'all will see me till noon. I don't care. Y'all want to say I'm lazy? Okay, you can. I wear that label proud. Okay, I wear that label proud. Um, or other thing that I do that's literal, that's easy. Watching my favorite show. After when I'm finna had a hectic day, I might just unwind with some wine, watch my
Mm-hmm.
favorite show, and just have a good time, laugh, whatever. That's how like I just build me up. And like and I think that big things that for me that I think I do too is like I don't like negative things. Like
Mm-hmm.
like if you're gonna call my phone and then you're gonna start talking negative stuff, it ain't gotta be about me or to me or an argument. It could be about
Mm-hmm.
people, period. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna be like, bye bye. I watching my phone ringing and I just ain't gonna answer you. So I try to put myself so it's not that's just like and these are people that I know I have to deal with But there's the people that like that I choose not to deal with. So self-care is cutting those kind of toxic energy and people out of my life because I need positivity. I need things that are going to build me up. Not every time. I mean, obviously things not perfect, but every minute it's something, and we're not trying to
Mm-hmm.
work through it. We just want to talk people's name. Uh, 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 uh
Mm-hmm.
I'm not part of that. So all of that, and also moving out of bad environments, like that's a huge one
Yeah.
for me. Like my last job, what I work, I used to be crying every day, y'all. Every day, every morning, to be like, God, I gotta go here again. I don't want to do it. I'd be vexed. Because they was messing with my self worth, the way
Yeah.
they were treating me, and I was like, I need to move up out of there. You know, sometimes the money be good, but what we getting at the end? Like
Mm-hmm.
your mental health, this, that, bro, no. So I did the
Mm-hmm.
big things for my self care. I only be in environments that works for me, healthy
Mm-hmm.
environments that works for me. Be it with healthy people that works for me. So
Yeah.
that's how I focus on my self care. And if you ain't about that, you ain't about me. Period.
That's so good. That's so good. And I love that you said you listen to yourself. You have to
Yep.
listen to yourself. That's where you need to start. Listen to yourself. Because let's say, you know, you had a regular day, or and
Mm.
let's say a regular week. It was nothing, spectacular. It was no crazy thing. It was just
Yeah, I
like
know, but things are
whatever.
going on right
Yeah.
now. You need it.
True. If you're living in America, every day is something, and it's
Every
like,
day
God
is a thing.
damn. Yeah. But let's say, the week was okay, whatever. Then the weekend come, you had a bunch of plans to do a million trillion things. And then you realize, you know what? You woke up Saturday morning and you're like, ugh, I just don't feel like doing anything. Listen to yourself.
Yeah.
Take the time out to do that, to do what it is that your body's telling you it needs. And I love that you mentioned that you don't be in environments where it's toxicity and not a good for your well-being, because that's so important, because the body, even though some things we may not process consciously, there are things that our bodies process subconsciously, and it remembers. So when you're in an environment that's constantly loud and you had a history of trauma where you were raised in a loud environment and so much
That's so good.
toxicity, those things are triggering to you, and you got to pay attention. Why? Again, I go back to that man or woman that you call and they gave you like anxiety. You need to question why, because your body is telling you
Yeah.
there's something there
Remembering. Hmm.
that is not worth being there, and
Uh,
that is something you need to listen to. And
yeah,
from
and we.
go
Mhm, go
ahead.
ahead.
No,
No.
continue.
Okay. So no, what you brought up there, like you wake up in the morning and just so good. You remind me of something, especially once again, we got Caribbean heritage. You waking up late in a Caribbean household, there's not even a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, that's already
There's
no,
not
no.
even a thing. And the fact that I wake up late now, as I mentioned, like people say I lazy or whatever. You wake
Mm-hmm.
up yet? You don't cook a man food? Yes, I am
Mm-hmm.
married. And no, I did not cook that man's food. Okay? And we okay. Because once again, I involve myself with people and energies that I ain't got to be like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, I got to. No, boo. So
Yeah.
you need to do away with that. Okay, we millennials and beyond. We other people, we all want to say, we all won't say. You cook up, you wake up and do all the things. They're saying any anxiety, silly out there, whatever, whatever. My point is,
Mm-hmm. Because
we rest is not even something we allow in our
ourselves.
society, right? Our society be like, oh, you wake up late, or you sit and watching TV whole day. What happened with that? People can't get one day.
Yeah, one
Right?
day to unplug. No
Yeah,
such
it's a
thing.
stigma. It's a stigma in our society. Women to just stay home, ain't doing nothing. You don't cook for the day.
No,
Is that allowed? Well, I'm here to tell
because
y'all, free yourself from that shackles. You're allowed. You're
free
allowed. In case you
yourself.
need to know.
Free yourself, because that's so good. Because in the Caribbean, by 8 a.m. on a Saturday, the house supposed to be clean, top to bottom, the pot on the stove, and like, bro, that's all good and great. But take some time to rest.
Yeah, one
And
day.
and parents, if you're always doing, and never spending time with just chilling with your kids, you're just teaching them that
Oh,
cleaning the house is more important than them. Nobody's saying you have to
girl.
live in filth, but prioritize things, prioritize yourself so that when it's time to have spend time with your family, you don't have no energy because you spend all that energy cleaning. Include them in the cleaning. Like you don't have to do all of that.
Yeah.
Self-care is delegating as well. You do this, you do that.
Facts.
And they might not do it to the best of their to the way you would want it to be. And that's okay. You know? That's okay. Like every time
Yeah.
we just want things done our way or no way. Like free up yourself from that kind of
And how are you
living.
gonna teach them if you're gonna just be like take over? Like, no.
Yeah.
Right? That's just like the post that you sent me. You remember this week you sent me with the lady, which your mom was cleaning the walls.
Yeah.
And and then she's like, "Oh, my mom used to make sure the house was spectacular, but then I just wanted her to spend some time with me." Your kids want you
Mm,
think your kids gonna remember y'all used to wipe the walls, bro?
exactly. They don't. A lot of those things goes unnoticed. And not to say that, if you're doing it for you because you like cleaning, that's fine. But once again, if you have
Right.
children and you're, like, you know, spend your time more diligently, more intentionally. And for me,
Feel
self-care
yourself.
to self-care to me is being intentional. Um, on Sundays now, I started a Sabbath, a rest day, whatever you want to call
Hmm.
it, but I am completely unplugged. If you ain't got this number right here, you don't have
Yes,
me.
the girl got a whole
I got a
non.
whole burner phone. I'm I know for myself, and I know that, if I have my smartphone, I'm gonna probably be tempted to go on the internet, respond to messages and whatever. So for
Hmm.
me, being intentional about just resting prompted me to buy this so I can be completely unplugged. And it's fairly new practice that I started. I actually started last week. And that day of rest of not doing any cooking, no cleaning, no shopping, no nothing. Like resting, like spending time with loved one. Like I was over at my family's house, and I was chilling with them a little bit, and it just opened my eyes to how much of a go 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 lifestyle that I live. And that society where we live in America,
Hmm.
it's very much so go 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 go. And then you're just constantly bombarded with everything of information. Of it is so overstimulating, and it made me realize I need a moment to unplug. And that one day made me realize, you know what? I need more days of this actually. Like this thing made me realize, like, wow, the being settled, I can hear my thoughts clearer. I could,
Wow.
the things that I wanted to do, create, because a part of, having a rest day also, I want to start writing again.
Mhm.
And it allows my brain to actually process things, and it just made me realize that I needed that time to myself, intentional time where I prioritize just being with me, and so many
Hmm.
of us,
Hmm.
we're always like, especially if you're someone who's always there for others, you show up, you go above and beyond for your job, for your family, for your friends. And what about you?
Yeah.
When's the last time you took time to just be with you, to um enjoy your own company, and like Shaka said, like one of her self-care is watching her favorite shows. Like that's time to do something that she likes, so for me, I like reading as well, so I would read a book and stuff like that. And that's also time for me to be with myself. Like when's the last time you spent time with you, you know
Yeah.
now without the kids, like so for parents, you may not be able to take a whole day, you might be able to take an hour or whatever when the kids go to bed, but be intentional with that time. And that's something I've learned, and I'm learning that self-care for me is being intentional with
Yeah.
how I spend time with myself.
Yeah, that's so good. And everything it's so, when you having like like that day to yourself and your phone, that's like extreme, right? Like,
It is extreme.
but you know that that's what you need
That's
to
what I
do.
need. Yeah.
Right? And that's the thing, and that's the point. Like with self-care, it's not we just give example of what she's doing, what I'm doing, but you need to figure out what works for
Yeah.
you, what self-care means for you, right? Self-care is personal, right? And what will work for me might not work for you. So what you need to do to figure out, like you need to see what works for you. So like a guide that we would say is like, One, write on the things that you don't like. It like just start writing it down. Like, cause sometimes,
Yeah.
a lot of times when we don't focus on ourselves, we don't know what we want. We don't know what we like, so we
Mm-hmm.
go with the flow,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you need to figure out what I like and what I don't like, and nothing. And that's the thing. You'd be like, I don't even know what I like, what I don't like. Try different things.
Mm-hmm.
Just be like, you know what? I like this. I don't like this. Right? What makes you feel relaxed?
Mm.
Right? What makes you feel relaxed? What makes you feel unwired? What don't give you that anxiety? Like, that pit in your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
What drains your energy?
Mm.
Right? And that apply to people too. If you know every time you come off the phone with them, you feel depleted. You don't want to talk to nobody else anymore.
Yeah.
That's really by your weight. And I'm not saying don't like, oh God, I got this. This is my mother, this is my father. I gotta talk to them. Me saying that, but you don't gotta talk to
Mm-hmm.
them every day.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you gotta prioritize time when you can talk to them, when you
Mm-hmm.
able with this, when you have the energy to deal with these kinds of things,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. That's so good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also, what do you do because you expect others, what others expect from you? Not because
Mm-hmm.
you want to do it, but because others are expecting you to do it. Sometimes you're doing something you don't even want to do. And then you're vexed when you're done. This is why. So look, write down all of those things and look at it and see, how can I prioritize me? Maybe I need to take this out. Maybe I need to incorporate more of this. Once again, it's not a neglecting or whatever. It's about building yourself up because you can't build others without building
Mm-hmm.
yourself up.
That's so
That's
good.
it.
That is so good. That is so good. And that's something, we really hope that if not, you've learned from our episode. Like, if one thing you can take away is that you have to listen to yourself. You may not have the answers, like Shaka said. So start asking yourself these questions. What are some things that I like? What do I love to do? What I don't like? Sometimes that's where you start. I don't
Yeah.
like this. If you don't like something, stop doing it. You don't like a movie, stop watching it. A book, if I got a criteria,
Yeah.
I read 2, 3 pages and this ain't it, don't waste my time. We all have a finite
So
amount of
good.
time. You have to
That's so
be
good.
intentional with what you're doing in your life. The things you consume. Stop doing things just for the sake of doing it. Like, you don't have to. Free yourself from that. That you start something, you got to finish
Yeah.
it. Who tell you that? Maybe your parents did. But that's not here or there. You have the autonomy to change your mind. If something is no longer serving you, change your mind. It's okay. You're not a failure. It's just that now that you have more
Yeah.
knowledge,
That's so
have
good.
more information, you choose a different course to take. And that's okay. That is okay. And we really encourage you, right, to listen to yourself. Start paying close attention to what it is, that you like to do. And try new things, like Shaka said. Like me, I have a motto: try everything at least once. Not everything, but
Yes.
within reasonable.
I know what I like. I know what I ain't going for. A lot of these kids be like that too, but I be like, I know what's for
Yeah.
me and what's not for me. But
Yeah.
I do try, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. So definitely try and listen, because you need to know what self-care looks like for you, right?
Correct.
Because when your partner, or if you're single and that person you're dating start asking, so what are things you like to do? Don't be stumped. Like, be genuine with your reaction and don't pretend like, you know, I like going hiking. Girl, you don't even like walking down the block. Like, let's stop. Let's be for
I
real.
don't like
Like,
going hiking.
be for real with your answers and be honest, because at the end of the day, what you like to do is supposed to feed you and edify your spirit and make you feel loved and poured into. Remember the cup? You're the cup. So whatever you like to do, whatever you do in self-care goes back inside of you.
That's
And
so good.
that's
That's
a
a good. That's a good
place
one.
that you need to start. And one more thing, because we love a good challenge, we are challenging our listeners to
Mhm.
pick one self-love this week. Like, what is one self-care thing that you can do this week, right? And commit to it. What is one thing you can do this week for yourself, Shako, that you can commit to?
Mm, you know what? I'm gonna spend some time in nature and just, take a walk and talk to myself. Like it ain't gotta be like a thing or activity, like just silence. So like if I taking a walk, I get headphones on and listen to music, and I'd be like, you know what?
Yeah, it's
I don't
too
even
much.
want to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just want to take a walk and just
nothing.
nothing.
I
That's
love
it.
that.
Hmm.
So look out for a video, at least one video this week from her walking in nature. Okay, we're gonna hold
Hmm.
her accountable. Um, for me, I was gonna say the same thing, go for walks, but actually, I'm gonna go for exercise. I need to get back into a exercise routine. Since coming back from Guyana. By the way, we have, like Shaka mentioned earlier, our Guyana vlog, so check that out. Um, that's something I want to get back into a rhythm of doing.
Yeah,
So I will also hold myself accountable by posting either a video or a picture of me exercising, be it whatever it may. You're gonna get something. So we challenge you, right, to pick one act of self-love this week and commit to it. Send us a picture, DM us, let us know what's your self-care routine. We're gonna keep each other accountable
yeah,
because we want everyone to win. Remember, we're not in competition because
that's
each
so
and
good.
every one of us are on our own separate journeys, and
Yeah.
we can uplift each other. We can always cheer each other on because the more the merrier. Like, come on.
Yes.
Come on.
Exactly. Exactly. Be a
Yeah.
part of the alignment and healing community that
Mm-hmm.
supports each other. That's it.
Yes. Yes.
That's it.
So exactly. So we have some big news. Lyman and Healing is officially on podcast platforms. We're on Apple,
Yes.
Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're also on Amazon Music and any other major streaming platforms out there. So
Yep.
be free. Not only can you watch us now on YouTube, please, you can do both, but you can also subscribe to us
Just see us
on
and
Apple
listen.
Podcasts. Yes. So sometimes you may just need to listen. That's fine. We got you covered. So you can go to any major podcast streaming platforms, and we'll be there. We're gonna put obviously in the bottom of the video, we'll include that information as well.
Yep.
And if you're listening to us on any of the podcast platforms, thank you so much for doing so. Please give
Yes.
us a review, and because that will help us by making our show more popular and more people can listen. But if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button, click subscribe if you haven't yet, share this video with someone that you love, and leave a comment.
Exactly.
Tell us what is your self-care routine. We would love to engage with you. And if you don't want to leave a comment because, it might be something you don't want to share publicly, shoot us a DM.
Yep.
Because we're here for the dialogue. We love chatting with you guys. Like whenever someone sends us a message, we always respond. So we
Yeah.
thank you so much for listening to us. We're so happy to be back. Like, are you excited, Shaka, for season 2?
I'm so excited. Season 2 is gonna be the best one yet.
Yet, period. So it's going to be amazing, right? We're so thankful for each and every one of you. Also, subscribe to us on all of social media platforms. We're on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Check us out because we
Yes.
post there as well. And sometimes we post some funny little videos. So check those out.
Yeah.
But we're so grateful for each and every one of you. And
Yeah.
until we
Thank you
meet
so
again,
much.
remember to bust a lime.
Bust a lime. Bust a lime. See you
See you
next
next time.
time.